This is episode 95 of the Clive Barker podcast. This one we did about Clive Barker's 1980 play, History of the Devil. It was Rob Ridenour, Gisele Tao, and myself. I'm Ryan Danhauser. So we talked about that. We talked about Clive Barker news, which includes Scarlet Gospels news and news about the upcoming Leviathan documentary. We also talked about what we got going on the site, what's been going on with us. We even slipped into video game talk a little bit in this episode. So before we get to that, I've got a little commercial and then right to it. Hey, this is Ryan. If you listen to the show, you might know that I'm a realtor in Fairbanks, Alaska. So we have this vast audience, but I only know of one of our listeners who lives in Fairbanks, Alaska. Hi, Ross. Did you know you can help me by letting me find you a realtor in your part of the country or world? I have access to networks of realtors, and many of them I know from past experience as a board president and state realtor board member. The best part is it won't cost you anything. After talking with you, I get a sense of what type of person would be a good fit for you, and when I match you together, I get paid a portion of the commission after you buy or sell a property. If you're looking to move or buying property and you'd like me to help you find a realtor that fits your needs, feel free to contact me through the site or call me directly at 907-978-2607. Thanks.
So y'all been doing okay overall?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing fine. Getting ready for this and watching some good stuff. Been watching some interesting things on the internet. Have you guys seen this TV show called? It's not a TV show. It's on the internet, but it's called Other Space.
No, I've never heard. No.
It's a new thing. It's you remember that actress who's on those cell phone commercials where you get like 10 gigs of data, blah blah blah, and I think which is the one that has like the blue sphere as a logo, AT&T or something?
Yeah, I haven't seen TV in 3 years now.
Yeah, this is not on TV. It's on Yahoo Screen. It's on. They have like their own product, their own content on Yahoo now. So this is called Other Space, and it's got a bunch of like actors and famous guy from MST3K, Joel Hodgson.
Oh
and, yeah. So they're in a spaceship.
Oh, I thought. Yeah, I saw you post something about that. Is that what that is? Where you kind of the guy plays Joel. Joel's got long hair now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I saw you post something on that.
He's got a robot that's voiced by the same guy who used to voice the MST3K robot of Crow.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a comedy.
Yeah. I'll have to look into that then. What have I been up to? I watched the new Star Wars preview about 100 times.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And well, I mean, just it was awesome. And I watched people's have you watched any of the people's reactions to it? That's pretty good.
No,
I
haven't done
reactions.
That. Some of them scream, some of them cry. It's like, oh my god. Yeah.
Then the Batman versus Superman preview. I saw that.
Yeah.
That was I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, but I didn't get excited like I thought. But maybe that was because of the Star Wars preview. I was so tired after watching that thing. I tell you, really like a lot.
I don't. I don't know that I like the idea of turning Superman into a bad guy or just like a misunderstood bad guy. I don't know.
I don't think he's going to be a bad guy. Have you ever read the Frank Miller comic book?
No.
The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, I have. They kind of, in a way, they are kind of basing it off that because Batman's not really a bad guy in that. He's kind of, well, I guess he's kind of,
an anti-hero in a way.
Well, no, I said Superman.
He's sucking up to the government now. He's the government boy. Because they make fun of, they're making fun of Ronald Reagan in that comic book.
Yeah. That was a comic book from the 80s, early 80s, I think.
Yeah.
So, but I guess in this new movie, anytime Superman and Batman get into a fight, it's usually because they're both trying to do good, but Batman wants to do it in a way that Superman doesn't approve, and so they clash heads together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think it's going to be like that? They sort of made it look like in the preview that Superman has ultimate power, so he's corrupted, and Batman's trying to take him down.
Yeah, I have to apologize because I haven't seen the trailer for Superman Batman yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really need to watch that.
And
I just haven't had.
It seems like people are blaming Superman for what happened at the end of Man of Steel, and
I blame him for being in Hellraiser 8.
Yeah, yeah.
I always think of him now from Hellraiser 8 since you brought that up.
Yeah,
I know. Everything's connected, right?
Yeah. And we all have skeletons in our closet.
Yeah, that's funny. All right.
What have I been up to? I've been
working a lot.
Yeah, I have been working a lot, and I guess to take my mind off it, I've been playing video games until late at night, a lot of nights. So I've been playing Shining Force 3 for the Saturn.
Uh-huh.
But it's a fan translation of the because they made 2 sequels to it that were only in Japan. So you can get a fan translation. You can make a fan translation of it, and it takes a lot of work. And you have to get a modded action replay cart for your Saturn. But I was able to. So now I've been playing through those, which is really cool because it takes the data from your first game, and events that happened in the first game affect what happens in the second and third one.
What kind of game is it? Like
it's a
spaceships?
It's a strategy role playing game. So it's like
turn based.
Yeah, except you have 12 guys and you move them to different grid spaces and try to make them gang up on one guy so that you don't lose any players.
Have you ever played a game called XCOM, which is a modern game?
I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
Okay, because it's turn based too, but it's more like a kind of an action shooter kind of thing that's turn based. So
they did an Alien versus Predator, Ryan. What you're talking about is that style game. It was pretty fun with Marines, aliens, and Predators.
No, it's not. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about, but it's not like that.
Oh, is it not? I never played it. I thought it was.
It's like you have like a landscape that's a grid of squares, and you move your different characters into the different grids, and then and then when you tell them to attack, then if you get two guys on one, then they attack the one guy, and kind of like Archon or chess or.
It's interesting that you were mentioning you have to mod your game and stuff, because right now there's this the future of modding is being put on the line here, because I play a lot of Skyrim, and Valve and Bethesda have done something which I'm kind of iffy about, which is they decided to start allowing people to monetize mods on Steam.
Oh, wow.
And so the thing is, a lot of these mods are collaborative efforts. So a lot of these people were putting up mods that they either had to downgrade them because they had to remove assets that belong to other modders who have said, yes, you can use my hairs or my sword or something or my armor in your mod. But then if you're going to monetize it, you have to take those things out because they won't approve of it. And so it's a weird thing. They started this yesterday, but it's been a terrible crash. And, people are completely against it because now you can buy a sword for $1. But, it's kind of an iffy thing to do. I mean, if you're into the modding community, which I kind of am, it's like I'm sure these people deserve to be compensated for their work, but I don't know if putting their work behind a paywall is the way to go. But just my 2 bits on that. Because otherwise we might see.
I've heard about that game Skyrim. That's a series of games, right?
Yeah, it's the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, the Elder Scrolls.
That's cool.
Well, modding. What do you talk about? When you talk about modding, what do you mean?
When I talk about modding, I'm talking about people who use the tools that the developers have given them. Tools where you can create like dungeons, and you can create like followers, like characters. You can create them using their creation tools, and then you can use those in your own game. You can expand your game by creating new areas, new castles. You can make your own home, player home. So these people will do that. Yeah, and you can add that to your game because these games have a framework where you can expand it with mods. And usually they used to be free. Now they're trying to make them monetized. So I don't know where this is going to go.
That doesn't surprise me. But is that the same thing with like skins, like character skins?
Kinda. Yeah. You can also have modded textures that you can add to. Like if you don't like the armor the way it looks, you can probably find a pack that has different textures. So instead of being like this gray, dull armor, you can make it look shiny and chrome and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what we've been up to this week.
Yeah. I've been playing. I did play. I bought the for digital download the Resident Evil Redux. They did it. They upgraded the effects, and they've changed the game around a lot. It's pretty fun. I love the old original Resident Evil. I played that a lot, and I love the games.
I thought
from the earlier places
was the remake on the GameCube.
Yes, this is yes. You're right. This remake is on the GameCube, but they've taken that the graphics that version of the Resident Evil, and they've upped it even more in the graphics. On the PS3, and I think you can get it on PS4 too. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you also finished Undying, right? Some time ago.
Yeah, just like about maybe a couple weeks. I didn't have a really hard time with that, except for the end. It took me about a week to beat that boss.
Oh wow!
The monster. That's
dedication.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So welcome to the gaming podcast.
Yeah. But I like that game. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought it was super fun. I haven't beaten it in a long time. I think that I have the Mac version, but
and Clive did a voice for that. Yeah, I know it was his voice.
He did.
One of the villains.
The Mac version is only meant for pre-Intel machines. So back when they were on the IBM PowerPC processors. So that I don't think that any patch will make it work anymore on newer computers.
Maybe someday the way that tablets and portable software hardware is evolving, maybe one day you can be able to port Undying into a tablet. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't really like playing games on tablets that much.
Right, because you miss the interface.
Yeah, I like controllers.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I don't like putting your hands on the screen to control. It's like you're blocking the screen with your own hands to control a game. I just don't like that.
Sure.
I have a bunch of iPad and iPhone games, but I just don't play them that much.
I played an Alien vs. Predator game that was on for my mom's iPad, and it was very complicated, so I didn't get to play all through it because I didn't like like you said, the way that interface works. I was not a fan.
Yeah. Well, should we go into the news?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the first one. So you can now pre-order the Leviathan documentary. There was a. I think we talked about this on the last episode that there was a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
got mine in.
But now it's available for pre-order, and they said sometime within 4 weeks or so, they'll be in the mail.
Yeah, I got a message from Gary Smart saying, "Hey, Jose, as soon as we have the DVDs available, we're gonna send them up to you guys." So looking forward to that. I mean, I was a Kickstarter backer, you were a Kickstarter backer, and
but I got my pre-order out there
nice.
The first day. So
Rob, I think it'd be a good idea for you to also maybe send a message saying that that you're with the Clive Barker podcast too, or just reminding him, because so that yours gets a little early also.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to be 9 hours of watching it before we talk about it on the podcast.
Oh boy, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be probably like a week's worth of.
Oh, for me, it's probably going to be like a day or two. I'm probably going to watch the whole thing, like watch the documentaries and then go into the extras. But maybe a couple of days, yeah.
All my free time is after 11 p.m. right now.
Yep, that's what you get.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's up for pre-order. I've seen people mention on Facebook that they've already pre-ordered it. And, that's great. I mean, let's see if they can sell out these first 1,000 copies. And that would be awesome if it did.
Yeah.
And make more.
They said they were pretty close to selling out. So they didn't say how much, but they said they had sold a good bit. So if you haven't got your pre-orders in, I'd probably get mine in as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'd like to see...
they're not going to stop at 1,000 though. If they sell 1,000, then they will make more. So yeah.
Yeah.
Just so people don't think, oh, I missed the train for this. So it's not a limited edition like that.
I hope he can get some money for putting it on streaming too, like Netflix and Amazon and stuff, because it seems like there's a new home for documentaries now that otherwise people didn't go out and rent documentaries at the video stores, right? But people are watching them on streaming.
That's true. The old times before these new streaming services, I guess the only way you could see documentaries was either in a film festival or on TV.
Yeah, because it's like you go out to the video store, should I get a documentary or should I get the new, whatever, Jurassic Park or whatever, I guess.
I do have a tendency to be a little wary of Netflix as well, because sometimes the content is there, but it's not there for a long time. They keep switching things around. So
you put stuff on your list and, I'll get to that, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have Netflix anymore. Sometimes I miss it. Like, I wish I could watch Daredevil.
Oh yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't mean to, but if you're, that show's really good. Just to throw that in there. I used to get the Streaming Plus 2 Blu-rays, and that was $17 a month. And it's like when we started having some money issues, it was like $17 a month for this, and so we cut it out.
I hear it's really good, so I haven't seen any of that either. But I don't have Netflix right now. But
I hope that comes out in other formats. I don't know what the future is of these original Netflix shows.
I'm sure they're going to probably release them on Blu-ray or something like that. Some other format does.
Well,
they understand.
And will they? I mean, will they release it to competitors like Amazon Prime? I do that one.
I don't know. I always thought they were going to keep them around the Netflix, but exclusive,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense to do Netflix exclusive until they're done, maybe. But after that's over, why not make some money, selling them out to other... I don't know.
Yeah, they might do that. Who knows?
It's a frontier.
So, but if people want to know what's going to show up on Netflix and what's being taken out, they can also listen to Andrew Furtado's podcast.
Yeah, who we had him on the podcast, and people would know him as the guy who edited the Nightbreed Director's Cut. He also is a huge Netflix expert, I guess.
He's always posting, what's coming and going from there. I'm always getting updates on my Facebook from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to give a shout-out to him, but I'm giving a shout-out to him and his now streaming podcast.
Yep, so now he has to give a shout-out to us. That's how this works.
Yeah. Better do it, Andrew.
Okay, so the Book of Blood Madefire comic.
That was the Books of Blood.
Yeah.
The main, the composer, Chris... I can't pronounce his last name. Yeah, Velasco. You uploaded the main theme for people to listen to, and I was happy about that.
I haven't listened to that, and I meant to watch that before before this episode, but I didn't get to it yet, so I still need to see that. But I guess since there's a delay, it's no huge hurry because I'm not going to get behind on them. But
no, you're not.
That was one of the news that you posted, Robert, about the Made Fire Book of Blood motion comic theme released on SoundCloud. So if you go back to the post that we have on Clive Barker Cast, you can probably find a link to the SoundCloud page.
And
I'm pretty sure I put it up there. So
that would
go check it out. It's very good. There's other stuff he's posted by him. He does a lot of video games.
Yeah, he did like Clive Barker's Jericho. And
did he?
Yeah, his soundtrack. That soundtrack was awesome.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It I think that's a good part of what makes that game so good.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have Rob? Do you have it for the PlayStation 3?
Yes, I do. It's hard.
Yeah,
I had a hard time with it. I'm gonna start. I think I'm gonna start up a new game eventually, but I mean, man, it was difficult. There's just one area I could not get past. I mean, you play as a group, and as you know, when we were just dropping like flies.
Yeah. Well, and you have to get to checkpoints, and as you get to each checkpoint, it's like there's endless enemies until you get to the next one.
Yeah.
I remember two particular areas where I kind of was locked in there for a long time. One of them was there was this monster. I think this was in the Templar area where you have that river of blood and stuff. There was this monster that you're supposed to shoot the eyes or the bubbles that are on top of his head. And I didn't realize that until, way into the fight.
Using the curved bullets and stuff.
Right.
I never got
another part. And then another part, I'm sorry. Another part was there's this building where you have to go in, and it's full of like fire hallways, and you have to use the giant character with the fire demon hand. So you have to use his power to go into those halls that are too hot for all the other team members. And so you have to use his firepower to control that so he doesn't burn. And I had, for the longest time, I had no idea how I could pass through that. And then I finally caved in and I went into YouTube and I looked up that particular level and I figured out, you have to do this and you have to use this character. So, I guess that you could say I cheated a little bit, but some of them were not immediately obvious how you had to do it.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I didn't like the most was the QuickTime events. Like the very first one where you fall into that hole and you have to hit the buttons in the right sequence or else you just fall in the hole again, and it was just
those are a pain in the ass.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. It just that kind of ruins the... I don't know.
They do that on the God of Wars, too.
Oh, yeah.
Did that game start all that?
No,
I don't remember.
I think
doing that before.
I think Shenmue for the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
If I could go back and have some sort of say in Jericho, I would do two things. One of them, I would probably say that I would prefer if the enemies didn't keep respawning for so long, and the ammo should be more limited. Because at one point it's like you just keep shooting, and then someone says, "Okay, I'm getting more ammo," but they're like getting ammo from another dimension or something. And I thought that was really kind of it breaks the realism or the immersion of the game when it's like you're just shooting, and it's like you never run out of ammo. Yeah. Or if you do, one of them goes like, "Oh, I'm doing a spell to get more ammo," and that's it. That's
I think for me, I guess I was sort of expecting you to say also cooperative play. Just because there are already, was it 4 or 3? I can't remember. People on I think 4, right?
Yeah, it was 4 or 5, right?
So how hard? I mean, they're all right there. How hard would it be to have a second player be one of those people? I mean, I guess it probably. I mean, in the game sense, you sort of expected it, and I think it got panned in reviews because that wasn't available. But I do understand how difficult, and expensive it would be to add that on there.
We're really focusing on gaming today for some reason.
Yeah, I don't.
It's fun though. I mean, it's really fun. Can I speak about the next news item? there's this new T-shirt that I think they look really cool. These white T-shirts with like Pinhead's profile on them, and in red, and it's designed by David Mack, I think. And Clive Barker's website is selling these Scarlet Gospel T-shirts at realclivebarker.com, and I think they're only limited to the month of May.
Oh.
So if you want to get
right.
one, grab it as quickly as you can, because they say it's only through the month of May.
I really want one of those. I've been meaning to go on there and get one. I need to do that.
Yeah. My only nag about this is that they're white T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
I know it would be difficult to make the same color of blood on black T-shirt, but, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, white T-shirts don't last very long.
Yeah.
They can stain. They stain easy, too.
Yeah.
Stain on it.
It's true.
Yep.
And we were talking about the Leviathan documentary. They've released a YouTube video with a thank you for everybody who contributed to the Kickstarter reward that involved getting a thank you video. So, you are there. Your name is there. My name is there.
I watched it once, but I didn't. It must have. Maybe I wasn't reading fast enough. I didn't catch it.
Chris Bradshaw was one of the producers.
I saw Jason Stolaric had like a picture on there twice.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That's cool. And several other of our Facebook friends. I mean, the gang's all there,
Yeah, that was cool.
The next one is
go ahead.
We got some Hellbound Heart readings that are going to be coming out, and one of them is going to be have follow-up will be the Horror Book Club's putting it on, and they'll read the Hellbound Heart, and it's going to be followed by the Scarlet Gospels, that's a cool double feature.
Where was that?
London.
In
London,
London.
yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be the Hellbound Heart. It's going to be in London, the Star of Kings, 126 York Way, London. And so they're going to do a reading of the Hellbound Heart, like you said, and they're also going to do a reading of the Scarlet Gospels. And I think they're going to do are they going to do the whole book?
I think so. That's what I would assume.
You could get through reading the Hellbound Heart in maybe 2 or 3 hours. But I can't see also reading the Scarlet Gospels. Not the whole thing, maybe a chapter.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be an abridged version. Who knows? I'm not entirely sure if they're going to do the whole thing. It says here, in July, we will return for more Pinhead hijinks with the Scarlet Gospels. So interesting. They're going to be doing, I think it's going to be more than one night for the Scarlet Gospels. So that's very interesting that the Horror Book Club in London is going to do that.
There's another one, but I didn't make a post about it, darn it. It's another reading of the Hellbound Heart and the Scarlet Gospels. This one is going to be in Montreal Comic Con.
Oh.
It was
cool.
I don't know the dates, so sorry guys.
Will they be reading the French version?
I don't know. Didn't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then you found in fact, you got reposted by Clive Barker the inside dust jacket for the Scarlet Gospels, which is a big Clive Barker painting of hell.
Yeah, is that what that was?
I think so.
There's that giant spike, but I can't say any more because you know what I'm talking about, Ryan. But Rob hasn't read it yet. But it is an original Clive Barker piece made specifically for the book. So this was released by St. Martin's Press. And really cool inside jacket for the Scarlet Gospels. But I think, is this going to be for the American edition and the English edition? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, we had a question from James Frizzell. He was asking that if it was the UK as well or the US. And I don't know. Do we know even which it is or if it's both?
I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have breaking news here.
What's that?
That the Daily Dead has released the first 2 chapters of Clive Barker's The Scarlet Gospels that you can read.
Yeah, I saw that. I was tempted to look at it, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We're so close.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I think if I wasn't, if I didn't have the advanced reader copy, if I wasn't, doing this podcast, I probably wouldn't do that Because I would want to wait until I had the book and sit down with it myself.
That seems to be the consensus in the Facebook comments for that particular news on Revelations.
Oh, really?
Everybody's like, can't do it, and then another person's saying, and then have to wait for the rest? No way.
Yeah.
So,
May 19th, right?
May 19th,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many pages the first 2 chapters.
That's almost a month away now.
Yeah, like a little over 3 weeks.
Yeah. So our main topic is History of the Devil, which is a 1980 play that Clive Barker wrote for the Dog Company Theater. And I know a lot of their plays they only performed once. Do you know offhand, Jose, if this has been if they performed this more than one time?
You mean like the Dog Company?
Yeah, a lot of their plays they would just do once, and then Clive Barker would want to move on to something else.
I don't know. Sometimes they did some they did like whole seasons for the Edinburgh the Edinburgh Festival, where they would have to do several playings of the same play. I don't know how many times they did the History of the Devil. I can't imagine that they did that very much, because it's a really long play, so I don't know.
Well, it's a big production too. I mean, I would think with all and it's so well made, I would think that they would have wanted to do it more often, but probably, knowing Clive Barker, maybe everybody else would want to do it a whole bunch more times, and he would say, "Nope, we're going on to the next one."
Yeah, that's what they usually say Clive Barker would do. I mean, he would lose interest in something really quickly as soon as they started producing the play and do it for a few audiences, that he would be like, all right, that's done, let's do another one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which is, which is his genius and why we love him, but it also means that while you're waiting for Cabal 2 to come out or the Book of the Art 3 or whatever, he might be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
So I guess to start out with, I would say we're probably going to spoil this. So since you can listen to it for free, I don't feel bad about it. So go to our website, and Jose, you did a Tuesday Tunes with the entire play in the Seeing Ear Theater, which is done for the Sci-Fi Channel, right?
Yeah, it was the Sci-Fi Channel's Seeing Ear Theater, and they did produce it. It was really nice. For a long time, that was on my iPod or phone or something. Anywhere I could fit it in, I would put it there, and I would listen to it all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say go back and listen to that before you listen to us talking about it.
Right. I did a post on a Tuesday Tunes, like you said, so go back to the CliveBarkerCast.com website and find that. Then you can download it and listen to the MP3s.
Yeah, if you haven't read it or you don't have incarnations, definitely, that's a really good... Do you know what year that was made?
95, I think. 1995.
Oh, okay. So right at the same year as Incarnations came out.
I guess. Yeah, that was it. I found on Revelations some comments that Clive Barker did about the History of the Devil play, and he said here, we had a production of History of the Devil which was banned in England by one of its venues. This brought it great notoriety and sold the show out wherever it played. So this was from Confessions from the old website, the old CliveBarker.com website. Yeah. And so, in answer to your question, I guess they did produce the play and play it several times.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I wonder, maybe on religious grounds, I would imagine.
Probably. Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also says here that, again, from Lost Souls, Devil was written with a lot of involvement from the Dog Company. It got changed a lot and developed in the rehearsal process. If memory serves, I think the material underwent quite a few changes as a consequence of the actor's suggestions and contributions. That was Clive Barker in an interview to Lost Souls newsletter. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you remember this better than I do, but who used to play the devil? I think it was either Doug Bradley or Oliver Parker.
I read somewhere on somewhere where it was Doug Bradley.
Right. Okay. Then it was Doug Bradley. Yeah. I think there's actually a picture somewhere of Oliver Parker. I think played Jack Easter, and there's a picture of Jack Easter punching Phil Rimmer, and then Doug Bradley's in the background, like cheering. I think he's playing the devil in that one.
Yeah.
So if I can find that picture,
Yeah.
it's in black and white. I'll definitely send it to you guys so we can put it to the show notes.
I thought in the Seeing Ear Theater, the Jack Easter voice was crazy. It sounded like this weird kind of poor British accent rather than like a robot, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I'm out of myself. Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't get to listen to that, so that's kind of interesting.
And I did go to the Phoenix Theater, and this play is still playing right now. It's been playing from April 11, and the final day is going to be April 25th. So it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
So now having gone back, because I hadn't read this play since Incarnations came out in '95. So going back and reading this now, I was thinking about you watching this play and how they, it's like the nearly naked theater, right? So did they go out of their way to make people naked where they weren't necessarily in the play?
No, actually, it was very much appropriate to the play. I mean, when you think of angels, you don't think of angels as wearing a lot of clothes.
Right.
And even though I remember reading in some notes that the devil, when the dock company was putting this show on, the devil would just show up like holding a jacket over his shoulder and looking all dandy with sunglasses and stuff. But here, the Nearly Naked Theater, which is a group of artists around here in this area, they really it's a not-for-profit group of local artists, actors, writers, directors, designers, and technicians seeking a voice in the Valley Theater that is free of censorship and artistic stifling, who want to produce thought-provoking and entertaining theater. So, and I'm reading from the program of the play that I saw at the Phoenix Theater, and they have an answer to the question, why is the theater nearly naked?
Yeah.
It's a theater that has been stripped down to its essentials. Free of conformity and political pressure, Nearly Naked presents theater that is honest by its simplicity. So it was a very minimalistic production. I mean, the stage was very minimalistic. It was a small room. It was packed. It was sold out. And it's been sold out for pretty much every single...
Really?
It's been selling out. I got the director of the play, Damon Daring, on my friend list, and I've been seeing that he posts every single day. He goes like, well, there's only 10 seats left to sell out the play tonight, or there's only 20 seats left. And so especially in the weekends, I see them post messages saying, well, we sold out for today. Actually, when I went to see it on the second day, because this opened on a Friday and I saw it on a Saturday, I went there and the play was sold out. Luckily, I had bought tickets a few days before. And, so it was a kind of a smallish theater because it was packed and the chairs were kind of small, so everybody was like elbow to elbow. Mm-hmm. But it was fascinating. I mean, the play went on for like 2 hours, 45 minutes. And there was a break. First act was like 90 minutes, and then, the rest was Act 2. And I thought it was fascinating. The actor Jesus Christ and Lilith were played by Andy Cahoon. Woman on the Street, Verrier, Ula Shim, Alette, and Isabel Nider were played by Vanessa Kiernan. Sam Kyle, Callimachus, Daniel Mendoza, Georg Kiepenhauer was played by Nathan De La Torre.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, I was sitting next to his mother.
Oh, really?
In the audience. She kept telling me, and she kept telling me, "Oh, my son Nathan is in the play. It's really good." And I was like, "Oh, actually, I'm covering this for a podcast, for a Clive Barker podcast." And she's like, "Oh, are you from LA or something? Are you for the New York Times?" And I was like, "No, I'm just a podcast. We have a website." Yeah. So
Yep, LA Times. That's right.
I know. And then Nancy Kyle, Milo, Madeleine, Mrs. Mendoza, Sonelion was played by Hilary Lowe. Belial, Nicholas Vidal, and McCready were all played by Jimmy Asimenios. Mm-hmm. Jane Beck, Pia Shim, Polixini, and the Duke of York were played by Cristal Pope. Oh. And Yapchi, Jack Easter, second actor Dante, and Procell were played by Austin Morris.
Wow.
Catherine Lamb, Barbara and Therese, Marianne Clark were played by Tracy Payne Black. And so the devil was David Nelson. He was very impressive as the devil. And the judge, Felix Popper, was played by Doug Loind. So it was fantastic. I mean, the director was Damon Daring. Stage manager was Joanne Gregg. And I really enjoy the heck out of this. I really did.
Wow. So, and it's still going on right now, so people can still go see it if they're in the Phoenix area?
Yeah, absolutely. Go see it because it's quite impressive. We were trading impressions. I heard a lot of people talking between the first and second act, and some people were asking me what I thought about it, and I was like, well, I know the play very intimately, and, it's that a lot of people didn't know or hadn't read Clive Barker before. I noticed that. I was talking to this gentleman. He had never read Clive Barker before, but he went to see the play because, obviously he's interested in theater, and there was a lot of people who are supporters of the Phoenix Theater, so they go to pretty much every play. And I recommended Clive Barker to a lot of people.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I was guessing that probably the majority of the people were probably theater fans rather than Clive Barker fans.
Yeah, I would say so.
This was my first time reading it. I think I'm going to go back and read it again. It was,
It's really, I think it's a lot different from the other plays that he's written.
Yeah, I haven't read any of those too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It'll be fun to do future episodes where we do in depth and talk about the other plays as well. But
sure.
But I like
Frankenstein in Love.
Yeah, and I like talking about just one play instead of talking about the book Incarnations, which we almost did. I think that this is better.
Absolutely.
Agree.
In Incarnations and Forms of Heaven, Clive Barker has a section where he talks about production notes for each of the play, and what he feels like people should, the direction that people can take with some characters and stuff. And for this one, here are some production notes for the history of the devil. Clive Barker says, The devil is an actor, a man of masks, never the same tempter twice. It's appropriate, then, that a play exploring his life and times should be an actor's piece, using word pictures in place of elaborate sets, in the stream of which a large number of characters are carried, some of them healthy swimmers, many swept away by the protean evil that is the play's true constant. If this story's worth telling, it's because it's about being human. The Devil's Tale is the tale of our own confusion, ego, and inability to live without hope for heaven. His wings removed, Satan is dropped into the world, wounded, and though he conceals his frailty well enough, putting on a fine show of dispassion, he's never far from throwing back his head and raging like an abused child. If the play persuades its audience to look at what this mirage of external evil is, in short, an excuse, a brushing off, then it has done something of what I intended. And basically, at the end of the play, you get this idea that, the devil did some, he's responsible for a lot of evil in the world, but at the same time, we can't shrug off the responsibility of our own actions. I mean, humans also do a lot of evil stuff in the world. And although I'm not a religious person, I think that we're not just puppets. We're not puppets between like God and the devil. If you're religious, you shouldn't think that way because you have to take responsibility for your own actions. And
that seemed like the overall theme of the whole play, and just that the devil would be there as sort of the id, right? He would kind of give people a nudge. People would be thinking about doing something wrong or something bad, and he would kind of, like he would say that the foundation was already shaky. I just tapped on a pillar or something like that, and he doesn't. He'd give them a little suggestion, and then they would bring their whole world down themselves with their own self-destruction.
Exactly.
He does say that, yeah.
Yeah.
And about this production that I saw, Damon Daring, the director of the play, he wrote some liner notes in the program where he says, some people have asked me why I produce History of the Devil when they know me to be Catholic, and despite my obvious sexuality issues being at odds with the Church, still very much consider myself Catholic. The answer is simply this. Just because I produce a play doesn't mean I believe or agree with everything it says. This is the voice of an author. And some of his ideas are fascinating and deserve to be considered, even if in the end I or you don't agree. And unfortunately, I can't really talk about those ideas here without spoiling the end of this play, so I won't. But I do find the overall idea of mankind being responsible for its inhumanity, and thus its humanity as well, to be intriguing. I think that God's greatest gift to us, besides life itself, is our free will. And what we have chosen to do with that free will has certainly left some dark stains on our history. And then he goes on to talk about Barker's sexuality in the play and stuff. But, he says, the real challenge to producing Devil is finding a group of actors willing to take such a provocative journey. And it is there that I enjoy this experience the most. This cast committed to the very strange concepts and conceits it takes to bring Devil to life, including baring their bodies and enacting ideas with which they too might not agree. Amazing. I mean, I really love this. He says, so how could I produce this play when I consider myself Catholic? Simple. I also don't believe in zombies, but I love The Walking Dead. Thanks for supporting us.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and this is more of a, I would say this is sort of more of a mythology or kind of a way of, it's more of a philosophy, I think. I don't know that you could say that it's sacrilegious. I mean, it's Clive Barker's view of maybe the devil is not exactly what everybody thinks he is.
Yeah.
Sure, or maybe it's not even a view. Maybe it's just, you know what I'm trying to say? Maybe he doesn't try to
explain
an exploration. A philosophy or anything, but it's just a character exploration.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the part where Jesus Christ, they read from the diary of Jesus Christ in the play. And in the play that I saw, that was really well done and very, very hilarious. But the truth is that it's not very sympathetic to the figure of Jesus in this play. I mean,
he makes him look like a... Sorry.
Yeah. He makes him look a little
like
goofy.
Asshole.
Yeah, or a little goofy. It's true that, for example, if you've seen The Passion of the Christ, and you see this like mythology or this idea that Judas was working in cahoots with the devil and his own greed, and the Jewish people and stuff, and ultimately they incorporated that into this play. Like, Jesus kind of tricked the devil into staging his apotheosis, so to speak, because Jesus got crucified and the devil had something to do with that. So, yeah, like you were saying, there's some kind of philosophy here where Clive Barker has a lot of sympathy for the devil. And at the same time, he shows that he used to be an angel. Let's not forget that. He used to be the greatest angel, at least according to Milton's Paradise Lost, which is where the whole idea of Lucifer falling comes from. But, at some point, Lucifer had to have some goodness inside of him, some light,
Is one thing that I thought was really interesting, and I made a little note on here about this. The judge Popper says, "We're here gathered to try the devil. Why? Because for reasons the councils will undoubtedly make clear, he was thrown from heaven." And the interesting thing there is that they don't ever make it clear. I think they intended to find out why he was thrown out of heaven, and nobody answers that.
Well, the devil himself says that he stormed the gates, but it came to grief.
Yeah, well, but that might have been later. That might have been after he was thrown out.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I assume that everybody knows that Lucifer tried to take over the throne. I mean, it's like everybody knows that.
Well, they were going to prove they were going to establish that first before they went on to the rest of the case, and they didn't.
Right. I mean, for example, there are some things here in the play which are unclear to me as well. Like, God is absent from this whole trial, but at the same time, there is some moral authority presiding over the trial in the form of 10 or 12 free, pure spirits who are like the jury. But we never really understand who are these spirits. Who's providing authority to this court?
Yeah. When Popper at the end talks about getting the vote, who was he talking to? And when you saw the performance live, the actor, who was he talking to the audience? Was he looking at you, or was he looking at these actors?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, he was actually kind of looking at us. So I guess in that sense, we were the spirits. We were the people who were judging, whether or not the devil deserves to go back to heaven or not. So yeah, that's a good point right there.
Because what I liked about the play when I was reading was like how he keeps referring to just this one actor that's, I guess, guiding the audience through. Did you have a person do that?
Yeah, the narrator.
Yeah, the narrator. Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. It was sort of a wink at the audience, because sometimes he'd talk to the audience, sometimes he'd talk to the characters, sometimes he'd even talk to the characters that were in flashback.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I love that character though. I really do. The narrator. He kind of keeps it all together, and the devil keeps trying to seduce him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, keeps asking him to kiss him.
But it was also kind of disturbing in some parts. I thought the part where the handicapped girl got raped and. Yeah, she died. Her mother fed her body to the pigs.
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord, that's kind of.
Yeah, this was like 1200. It
was in the medieval, or what time is that? What period of the 1200s?
No, that was 1200s was later. That was when his church was built, I think, when when was that? When he first fell out of heaven, and it was and they said what would now be USSR, and then in the more current in the other reading they said Ukraine or Russia.
Yeah, right, I remember that.
That's right.
That's true. I don't remember exactly because I don't have the book with me. I've listened to the play several times. I've seen the play performed a few weeks ago, but I don't have incarnations here with me in the United States. Yeah. It's still back in Portugal, so I didn't really read the text of the play for this, so I can't go there and check it.
Okay. But out of curiosity, how did they do those kind of scenes, the special effects, the transitions between, dreams or flashbacks? How was that done?
Oh, with lighting, with moon lighting, and the stage was decorated with all these like sashes and pieces of cloth and different lights, and there was like a raised platform in the center, and there was a raised platform for the judge Felix Popper in the back. So whenever they went into a flashback, sometimes they would. Or when they flew up in the sky, when they're Verrier, I think, is transporting Kyle to Lake Turkana. Basically, he just pinches his neck, and then all of a sudden, these other characters crouch around them and kind of wave these pieces of cloth, and they would make the lights go blue, and they would pretend to jump a little bit, and they would be like flying while these sashes would be waving around them. These white sashes and the blue light looks like they were flying in the sky with clouds. So I thought that worked really well.
Well, that's cool. That would be really neat to see.
And when Ula Shim comes from the ground, there was a trapdoor, and Ula Shim would come out from that trapdoor.
Did they make a sound of the earth sighing when she came up out of the ground?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay. It's 1212 BC. I just looked it up.
There you go. Okay.
So how'd they do with Jack Easter getting his head smashed off and it being revealing him to be basically like a toy?
I think that kind of happened off screen like it does in the play, and then the devil just comes in through the stage left with holding a piece of mask. Like a robot mask. And
so was like the actor or characters describing what they saw?
Yeah. Like there's Marianne Clark, I think, of the Duke of York, and she says something like she says that she was walking around and she saw Jack Easter in the forest or the orchard. I don't remember if it was an orchard, but that he was there on his knees like he was praying, and then. The devil as what was his name? Mastern comes over with a hammer, and she says he came over with a hammer and he hit him in the head, and pieces of his head flew off and hit my arm, and there were flesh on one side and silver on the other, and then she goes like, oh no, here he comes now, and then the devil comes into the stage holding the mask that Jack Easter was using broken in half, and it's like, oh, I thought you ran this way, and that's how they did it.
That
they didn't really show it.
Part.
Yeah, in the play they didn't show it to the audience either. It was always like, you know, the Duke of York's mistress is telling him what happened, so we don't really get to see that. But yeah, that's how they did it. And Jack Easter had this kind of cyborg mask, which it worked. It worked really well. He looked like RoboCop in a way, like very stiff, and you know, movements were kind of mechanical. But the actor that played Jack Easter did a really great job. And yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, did they have sand on the ground in the trial?
No, but
okay.
For example, when Jack Easter is fighting Daniel Mendoza, some of the characters would grab this like these ring ropes, and they would make the ring around them while they were fighting.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
That was my next question. Was going to be about how they did the fight. So.
Yeah, it was very organic. It flowed very well because as soon as they would raise those things up in the air, that would make the ring, and then when the fight was over, they would just slowly put that on the floor, and you know, the scene would go on, and you almost didn't realize, you know, that the scene was over. And you know, I thought it worked really well. A very fluid motion, a lot of mood lighting, excellent lighting work. So,
and you would have to have a really good director to be able to decide which actors are playing which characters. If you have a limited number of actors, and
oh yeah,
there's so much going in and out, and people meeting and leaving and coming in and going, and but probably the dog company probably did it that way too. I would imagine they all played a lot of parts.
Yeah. Okay.
Just how the production was being worked.
Right.
How it was done.
Yeah, and Jack Easter was a construct, right? Like the devil took 20 years to build him.
Yeah, from the bone marrow out, I think.
yeah, really cool.
Copper hair, like threaded, or at least copper skull, where he threaded every single hair by hair. And fascinating stuff. I mean, he was trying to emulate God, I guess, create man the way he thought he should be created, I guess.
And then Jack Easter sort of became self-aware, or already was?
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard to understand exactly what was going on, but he says he's out of himself.
Yeah, I didn't
into
understand
another world.
What his revelation was. Maybe just that he had dreams for the first time?
That there was a mystery that the devil couldn't fathom.
Well, I thought he was peeking in on that couple. The guy who was fighting and his wife, they were, I guess, making love or something like that. Yeah. And he started crying.
Yeah.
So it's like the mystery that he discovered was probably like emotions, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that he, or that he couldn't live the life that, of a normal person.
Or it's like almost like the android fell in love with mankind as well, because they were like made by God. I always thought it was something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Then and also why the devil would smash him.
Yeah. Because as soon as he becomes self-aware, and then he's no longer just a slave of Lucifer's will. So when that happens, it's like, okay, well that's gone.
He's not a possession anymore.
He slipped from my control. So
because he said he never said no. That's what he loved about him.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah, in the play, that scene, it was the way they played it. It was like had a little subtext to it. Lucifer says, "Well, he never said no."
Oh yeah.
You get this idea because he keeps asking Jack Easter to kiss him. Almost like
that's true. Yeah.
But some of the best parts of this, I think, where you see the devil in his best seductive role is when they go to the Greeks that were in Turkey, I think. Mm-hmm. Polyxene and Callimachus and little Yapshi.
Yeah.
I thought that was. Yeah, that's where you see the Lucifer play like the snake, the seductive character more.
Yes.
That's where it
for
shines.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets the little boy to sleep with the how you pronounce it?
Polyxeny.
Yeah, and he even says, like, I'll get, don't worry, I'll get Callimachus. I'll take care of Callimachus. You just go do that. And then his taking care of Callimachus is telling him exactly where they are.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Because they had, I've seen statues like that. I mean, there was this god that Lucifer had given to Polyxeny to put in the garden. And the god is a god that has like a huge phallus. Yeah. And she would pray to it and stuff.
And put honey on it.
Yeah, and put honey on it. And, they talk about Bacchus and, orgies in Greece and Rome and stuff. And so, yeah, it's interesting. Little Yapshi grew up to be a horrible tyrant of a dad, hated by all his kids.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he twisted the sword in Callimachus and stepped on his head or on his face.
Yeah, he's a little psychopath.
Yeah.
But one of the lines that I like best about that particular scene is when Polyxeny asks little Yapshi where he's going with that bag, and he says, it's a dead god, milady. And then she goes like, oh, you mean a dead dog.
Take that out of my sight.
Yeah. And so basically, after Callimachus breaks that, phallus from the god and tells him, take this away from my garden. So it's pretty much a dead god. I thought that was funny, the way he refers to it.
I started thinking of that part from, this is kind of off the play, but I started thinking, I know y'all seen the Goonies. I know, that started thinking about that statue when it lost its, phallus piece.
Right.
I started thinking of that. It's my mom's most favorite piece.
Yeah.
And then when they open the gates and the barbarians come in the play, they had some multimedia stuff going on where they were projecting some scenes onto a sheet on the side of the stage, and they were saying, "Oh, look at that! Oh, look, there's a baby, 2 babies, 3 babies on a spear," and they weren't showing exactly babies being speared, but they were showing like people running and it's like, oh, look at that guy, he's coming out of the baths. Oh, they got him too. And there was lots of sound production going on, like, a crowd, like sounds of a crowd running. It was very well done. You could visualize the scene, and it was interesting. Very, very nice. And then there was the section with the witches. And the witches, I thought they did something. All the characters pretty much had masks, except for Lucifer and Popper. Oh, well, yeah. I also forgot. Catherine Lamb, the actress that played Catherine Lamb, Tracy Payne Black, she was amazing. I really thought that she played Catherine Lamb. It was a great, the great job that she did playing Catherine Lamb. She played Lamb like this monolith of confidence and, very confident as a prosecutor. She was really a strong character. She was a very tall actress and very imposing, and I thought that she did a great job with it. She also played Barbara and Therese, because in the scene with the witches where they're being tortured, they made a choice that I thought was particularly interesting, which is there's 3 witches in that scene, but they combined 2 witches in one character, and they gave her a mask with 2 faces. And so she would do a voice for one of the faces, and then she would do a voice for the other face. She would pretend to be like this witch that was really afraid, like, you fool, you've damned us all. And then she would be the other one that was more accusing, like, oh, shut up.
Oh, really?
Your old family. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That was interesting. And the other witch, she had like a torture mask. Have you guys seen like medieval torture masks that they would put on people?
Oh yeah, with the nails on the inside.
Yeah, or like a big nose, or like something that would block their mouth or something. Yeah, she had one of those masks that kind of covered the top half of her face.
Oh.
Matt, they used a lot of masks, like Mendoza. Mendoza had a big theater mask. Almost like it would exaggerate his nose and around his eyes and stuff. and it would be like made up to look like he was all bruised and stuff, like he was a boxer. So that was particularly interesting, the way the set design and the costume design was really, really fascinating. And of course, there was a lot of nudity. I mean,
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, I mean, how far did that go?
It went full frontal for both genders in some scenes.
Yeah, really?
Really, yeah, especially wherever there were angels and stuff. And, the Pia Shim.
Yeah.
Pia Shim was also played by the same actress that played, what was the name of the other attorney, the other prosecutor?
Jane,
yeah.
Yeah.
Jane played Pia as well. So they did a great job. And, of course, the scene where Lucifer accidentally kills Pia, it was done very tastefully. They had like these, costumes on, but very bare costumes. Satan was just wrapped in strips of cloth, and in his back they had also like a red stripe of cloth tied around his back to pretend like his wings had been torn off, so they were bloody. And also, I noticed this great detail that they did in one of the acts where the Lucifer was putting back his clothes after a particular scene. I noticed they actually put some makeup on his back to make it look like he had 2 scars there, which I thought that was really attention to detail. That was fascinating.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is really cool about this play, and I think it maybe goes back to that theme about people being responsible for their own actions, is the way that the defense and the prosecution switched places by the end of the play. So that Kyle was giving out this damning evidence, especially like why he was picked to represent the devil, and then what's her name?
Catherine Lamb.
Yeah, Catherine Lamb had her own reasons for trying to convince everyone that the devil was innocent and that he was just like all the rest of us. He was duped and tricked, and he was, pitiful.
Yeah, betrayed, and
But she did that to trick him, though.
Yeah, but then Kyle is arguing with her and saying, "No, what are you doing? He's guilty."
And then Popper says, "No retrial. My heart wouldn't bear it."
Yeah.
Lake Turkana. What I thought was particularly funny, and a lot of people would laugh at these lines, is when they say, the natives here at Lake Turkana consider themselves properly dressed as long as their foreskins aren't pulled back.
Yeah.
And then Jane and Catherine are saying, the only entertainment we have here is looking at the natives play with their foreskins.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing at that. So, oh yeah, there was a funny scene in the play where the actor that played Lucifer, he shows up between on the second day of the trial. There's like this moment at night where Lucifer makes some fireworks to entertain the people, and so they're just chilling around the lake, and they're just looking at the fireworks, and it's dark, and there's crocodiles, and at one point Lucifer appears after he's been partying with the Turkana people, and they brought Lucifer in, and he had like his hair was like in a mohawk, and he was practically naked, and he had all these like a necklace with cans around his neck, and he had like whistles and stuff, and he was like, man, these guys, the Turkana, are really awesome. They know how to party. And that was really funny. That was a funny moment there.
Was that the time when he tricked Milo into getting eaten by the crocodiles?
Oh, yeah. And then they also bring a box with his remains, and they put it in the ground.
Oh.
They say, I think we found Milo, what's left of him. And they're like, is that his head? Oh, my God. And they just brought in a box, and there were some like props in there that kind of make it look like there's body parts. So that was also another hilarious moment. Yeah. But I loved it. It's a really long play. It's a feat of memory for the actress to be able to memorize so many lines. So it's impressive just for that reason. I mean, it's a huge play, but it went by really quickly. I mean, the 90 minutes of the first act, people were just talking outside, and even my wife told me, it didn't seem like it was 90 minutes. now I'm looking forward to the second part. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how did they play? Did Jesus come off like he does in the written play?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really just a dude.
It was funny. They got this guy with like a mask and two sharpened sticks and just a loincloth around his waist, and he was like, "Did you see the blue wheels?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what was that? The blue wheels? Is that some sort of historical reference, or that's just hallucinations?
I think it's just hallucinations from the hunger. Yeah, but I got this idea that when Lucifer says, "Oh, there's a lizard. Here's some food," it's like, "Do you have some food?" It's like, "Surely I must have some food." And then he acted in the play. It looked like the devil was making him see like a lizard that wasn't there.
Oh,
and I don't
really?
remember exactly if that was the same in the book, but
I don't think so.
That worked really well. It's like, there's a lizard. Throw your stick. Oh, you missed it. Throw another one. Oh, you missed it again.
Oh, yeah. I think in the written play, it was just Jesus says, "Hey, there's a lizard. Are you a good hunter?"
Yeah. Another thing that I thought was interesting was when near the end. I mean, near the end, the play really kicks it into overdrive, and especially when the verdict comes out and he's allowed to go back to heaven. Mm-hmm. And wow, that scene when he comes back and Verrier tries to stop him and Catherine Lamb says, "Verrier, I'm going to need your help," and all of a sudden the guy comes and Lucifer comes in completely naked, like he's coming down from the sky, but he just runs. And the delivery of that final scene is so good. I mean, I got chills on my arm. I was like, holy crap. Because he was really shouting. He was really angry. And, "Don't touch me, Verrier. I'm too hot for you." And, wow, that was amazing. Verrier was played by a woman.
Yeah,
and she had like a weird
it
bird
says
like
that. It says to do that in the stage directions, too.
Yeah.
That it should be played by a woman with no irony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In this case, Verrier was very theatrical. She always had these poses where she was like stretching her arms and legs and, just gesticulating a lot. And all of a sudden she would go like, "Rah!" She'd make like this bird sound because she had this mask with like a beak. And I thought it worked. It worked really well for me. I'm really happy that I saw that play. Everyone did a great job.
So you really did go off on her when he was like, "You vomiting crab cunted bitch, you turd-faced, puss-mouth, putrid fucker, scheming shit."
Yes, exactly. I mean, they really kick it into overdrive in that scene. In the first scene where the devil comes and all the stuff that they're mentioning, like, "Oh, look at those, it's a flock of birds and the lake is boiling and all that stuff," we don't really get to see that. That's just like off the stage, and you just see these lighting effects and there's some rumbling going on. But yeah. I think that the actor that played Lucifer is just amazing. I mean, this guy was extremely talented. Everybody was extremely talented. But David Nelson, who played Lucifer, wow, that guy did a great job with the whole play. Everybody did a great job, honestly. I mean, you just pay more attention to Lucifer, which is a little unfair, but
he's the center. Yeah, he's the center of the play. Right.
So wow, I'll put some photos up that I got from the page of the play, and you can see for yourself. He struck an impressive figure. I mean, this is a guy who obviously he's pretty well sculpted, and he was very tall and very imposing, and he really looked the part.
I think it's interesting that because I had forgotten when I read this, years ago, I had forgotten that this trial. I always remembered it as just the devil was on trial for his crimes, but it's really like a parole hearing to find out if the devil's worthy, to go back to heaven.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we were talking yesterday on private message, you, me, and Rob, and I think it was Rob that brought up this thing, like. So in the end, Lucifer, and this, of course, is going to be a huge spoiler, but he does go back into heaven, but God and the angels are not there. There's nobody in heaven. Heaven is empty, and that's why that's the final trick played on the devil.
Yeah, there's no the sheep are gone, and there's no shepherd.
Yeah, and then there's the people, the court people who were delivering summons to like the archangel Gabriel or Michael, and
Jesus.
And Jesus, they come back, or some of them don't even come back, and one of them hangs himself, the other can't sleep.
One cut his own throat.
Yeah,
cut his own throat. Right, that's pretty gruesome. And it's like, so they go to heaven, and what we can imagine is that they didn't find anybody there because one of them says, no sheep, no shepherd, and so where did they go? That's the big mystery here. I mean, where is God and the angels? I guess they went somewhere else, and I get this idea.
Which says a lot about the state of the world, right?
Yeah, it's like, did God abandon the world? Did he abandon his creations? Did he go somewhere else and start again? It's like, or did he just move to a different plane or something? Yeah, that's the thing that I thought was very. That was the thing that I thought is kind of dark and shady here. Like,
I agree with
God
you
is
on
absent.
that.
Yeah.
That definitely was when you brought that up, because I didn't really. That kind of went over my head at first, because I was just thinking maybe it was just. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, in the metaphysics of this play, do you think that when people die, they go to heaven or hell?
Who, me?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the not what is your personal philosophy, but what do you think in the context of this play? It seems like Clive Barker sort of likes to, in his stories, carve out hell as like a real place, and not necessarily, and it's not necessarily true that that dead people become ghosts that live down there, right? So, I don't know. Do you think that that's the case in this, and that good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell? What who decides what?
I think it. See, in this context of this story, I think that is a hard question. Because in the context of this story,
in this play, hell is a hole in the ground that the devil and his followers dug over years.
Yeah, you're right. So they talk about the creating of the 9 circles of hell, and he's like, well, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be 100 circles.
Yeah. But they do mention
I guess in the context. If you're talking about the context, what I think of the story, yeah, probably.
Well, somebody asks him, "Are those the damned?" But then he's like, "Objection."
Right, because calling them the damned would mean we attribute to them like this punishment or something, that they were not good, that they're the damned. So it would be a loaded kind of word to use. That's why I guess he objects to it. It's like, it's just friends or something. I guess so. I guess. My opinion would be that, the people, if they were good, they would go to heaven. If they were bad, they would go to hell in this story. I mean, I think so. I just don't know what happens to the saints and the righteous when they go up to heaven. If heaven is empty, then they have to go where God is.
Yeah. Well, and you would think that all of those ghost jury members would have known that already.
Right, exactly, because they bring back a lot of people who are dead. Even at one point, Judge Felix Popper says something like, "Can we get some witnesses that don't have dirt in their hair?"
Yeah. Well, and the dead talk about that they've just been lying there rotting all of this time. Yeah. So are they all in purgatory and nobody gets to go to heaven yet because there's been no judgment day?
Oh, that's a good point, too.
That's a possibility,
Yeah.
I could see, for example, people like Ula Shim not being in either place, because if you follow, like, Dante's Paradise Lost, and that Paradise Lost is from Milton, but Dante has the Divine Comedy, and he mentioned something like all the old philosophers are in limbo because they were all born before Jesus was ever in the earth, and so they didn't know, and a lot of people were not baptized, so they're in limbo. I'm not very familiar with the whole purgatory limbo thing. I mean, I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I was never much into that whole stuff. Yeah. I know that there are a lot of people who are into that and who know exactly how many 9 masses that you have to pray to some purgatory soul to go into heaven. But I guess some of these characters are just dead in the ground, right?
Yeah.
Especially Nicolas Vidal of Toulouse, because he I don't know if this is true or not. I think I tried researching this guy once, but I didn't really find a lot of stuff. But I don't know if he was one of the architects of the Chartres Cathedral. I mean, Chartres Cathedral is definitely a real cathedral. I just don't know if this guy was actually an architect that existed.
And he could have been made a fictional character because he wasn't allowed to sign his work. I mean, that was like that was a big major part of the story.
Right. I know, for example, that Notre Dame Cathedral had different architects for each face. That's why some of the parts of it look different from others. They have like all this variety on it. But I mean, this guy died and went to hell. I mean, this is another great scene here is this whole sequence with Nicolas Vidal and the sisters and Mastern coming over and saying, you know, I want you to build my palace. And then Nicolas Vidal is crushed by a huge block after denying the devil, and he goes to hell with the devil anyway. And he says, I will build your palace, but I demand to work unsupervised. And the devil...
I know
yeah.
He builds it out of shit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he makes it in the shape of a big turd.
Oh, I thought he built the thing out of his own erexment.
He built pandemonium out of... in the shape of a giant turd, and then became the laughing stock of hell. And so the devil says, like, all right, well, you get out of my way. I don't want to see you anymore. So he just sends him up into the world again, even when he's dead. And the scene where he says what happens after he gets thrown out of hell, it's very sentimental, and I think it really touching because he just says, you know, it had been 50 years. All my friends and family were dead. The sisters were dead. You know, I didn't have a place in the world, so I just dug a hole in the ground and buried myself next to the sisters.
Yeah.
And I stretched out my fingers to the bones of theirs. And, you know, I closed my eyes and I fell asleep. You know, in my dreams, I'm with the sisters and we're happy. And I thought that's such a melancholy scene, you know, that Nicolas Vidal says. And everybody was so silent after he finishes that line in the theater. Everybody was so silent. And I understand why. It's a very melancholy scene. It really gives you this feeling.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a much different experience to see the play performed versus just reading it. You know, especially with an audience.
Absolutely.
I wish that... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wish more of that stuff come on this side of... do they travel, this group? What are they called?
Nearly Naked Theater?
Yeah,
I think they're just here.
Local, right?
Yeah, they do travel, but I think they're based here in this valley area in Phoenix. So
I'd love to try to set something up. Or I don't know how I could do that.
So I would say, Rob, you've got a better chance of seeing History of the Devil than I have.
True. Alaska.
I would have to give the book to somebody and say, do this play next, and hope that they'll do it.
Yeah. But still, nobody would want to probably see it over here either, for some reason. But we've got playhouses over here. I mean, Asheville's a very, kind of an artsy style place, and I think Clive Barker would, I don't know if he's ever been over here, to Asheville, this area particularly.
It's worth a shot. I think just most people haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Because it is a very small, but it's a melting pot too. There's a lot of different, types of groups here. And are y'all going to be working on any features?
Rob, you've had a few things on there.
Yeah, I'm doing this. Asked you if I could do it. It's called Beyond the Limits, and it's mainly just about Clive Barker's, examining paintings and photograph. I haven't done photographs yet. I think the next one's going to be a photograph, some of his photography.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's for anybody to do. I mean, I made it for the podcast. I'd like to see some of y'all do one or something like that down the line.
Thomas Nagovin has been really impressed with your and he's Clive Barker's art director.
Yeah,
and he's been really impressed with your output. Beyond the Limits. Yeah, well, and everything else too. But yeah, so awesome. I want to get back into to posting more. I haven't had time to do it, but I really want to get back.
As far as me working on stuff personally, I'm probably gonna start retro reviews of the first 4 Hellraisers.
Oh,
movie
yeah.
reviews.
That would be cool.
I'm gonna watch the first one probably sometime here soon. Do one on that, then do second one, third one, fourth one.
All the theatrical releases then?
Yeah, just the first 4. I don't really want to do any on the direct-to-video. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like punching yourself in the face.
I mean, I could do maybe Hellseeker, but that's still, I don't know.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'd like to finally record some gameplay of Undying, because I know I've been talking about that, and somehow you never seem to have the time to devote yourself to a game.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's a lot of editing, right? Because you don't know what's going to be interesting. You just record the whole thing, and what is that, like 8 hours or something, or 12 hours?
I did get the manual, like an unofficial guide for Undying, so I could know a little more about where to go and what to do to complete the game. Otherwise, so I don't go around like going upstairs and going into empty rooms and going into locked rooms and stuff. So I don't wander too much in the game. Yeah. But I would love to complete that game and record it and put it on our Barkercast channel.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And over the weekend, I'm going to see if I can work on getting more of our older episodes onto our Barkercast YouTube channel, because we're running out of storage space in our current plan, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
we could maybe do 3 or 4 more, and then we're going to have to start cutting them. And our early episodes were really long, so one of those is probably worth 2 or 3 of our current episodes.
Yeah, especially the year in review episode we did.
How long was the first one I listened to ever, which got me into just listening to the podcast and all? It was the Hellraiser 3, Hellraiser Bloodline one. And that was separated into like 2 different, really long podcasts. Y'all were talking with somebody else. I can't remember who it was.
I think Mark Buckle and Max Lichter, I think.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
I think so. We discussed most of the Hellraiser movies, or at least some of the better ones. We discussed them with the guy from Pyramid Gallery and Mark Buckle from The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Website. So
and we want to be able to still host the episodes so that people can download them, but they're gonna disappear off of the iTunes and the RSS feed and stuff, and that's just inevitable. I'd love to keep having them all up there, but we can't.
Whoever downloaded them already, they'll may be able to keep them in their hard drive and their iPod, but maybe five at a time. Now every other week or so, we'll start putting them up as an archive on the Barkercast YouTube channel, and then put a link to some kind of digital locker where you can download the file of the episode if you want to add it manually to your iTunes. And that way we don't have to have almost 100 episodes in our storage space.
I'd also like to do a video review of the Nightbreed games. And I'm not going to finish them because they're impossible. But I do, and I may just end up quitting in rage and stuff, but I would like to make a video review and record them. I need to get, there's a little box that you can put in that goes kind of in between the HDMI signals, between that and the monitor and stuff, and then it's got a USB that goes out to your computers to record. So I'd like to get one of those to record the footage and stuff and put together a video of the 2 Nightbreed Amiga
That'd
games.
be amazing. Yeah, well, they're not impossible because there's playthroughs of it on YouTube. There's people who actually play through the whole game.
Yeah.
But
it's just practice. You just get a little bit farther each time.
Yeah, it's like that impossible game that's on the internet where you have to learn from your mistake, and each time you play it, you go a little further, but then you die, and then you have to go back and memorize everything. Yeah. And that would be wonderful if you could do that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I don't know that I would take the time to play them that much because they're not really that fun.
I know.
But yeah, just to kind of show them off and do a thing for our podcast. And there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about too. We got thanks to Derek Neal, we got one of his handmade puzzle box replicas. It's really cool looking, and I'll put a picture of it in our show notes for this episode. And actually, I'll probably make a whole post about it, because what we want you to do is write us a review in iTunes. And if you don't have an iTunes account, get a friend's iTunes account and write us a review there. That will boost our listenership by huge amounts if we get more reviews. We only have about 5 of them, and I think the most current one is like from 2012. So we need some more. And
get on it, people.
Yeah. So to prove that you did the review, paste a copy of your review in the comments on the post on the website or on Facebook or on Twitter, or do a screenshot on Facebook or on Twitter.
You know what would be really cool? If we could come up with a giveaway if we reach, like, say, a certain level of reviews. And then we could actually, pick a random winner from those reviews.
Oh, yeah. So let's say we get 10. I think that's not too much to ask.
Right? Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so let's say if we can hit 10 reviews, then we'll give this puzzle box away to one of the newer ones. So one from this year.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can get a handmade, puzzle box. Do you already have the puzzle box?
I do, yeah. It came in the mail last week.
How does it look like?
It looks really good. Yeah, I mean,
nice.
it feels like a heavy piece of wood with brass over it, kind of like the Nika one. But unlike the Nika one, the brass isn't peeling off and poking into your skin.
Yeah. You should take a picture of that so we can start posting this for the giveaway.
Yeah, I will. I'll take a picture and I'll make a post on the website and on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so watch out for the Barkercast YouTube channel. There's probably good stuff popping up there soon, and we will be putting some of our old episodes there and try to get more content over there.
Yeah.
And don't forget that the History of the Devil is still being played by Nearly Naked Theater at the Arizona Phoenix Theater, and it's going to be there until April 25th. Unfortunately, I think by the time we put this episode up,
it'll be over.
That'll be over.
Oh wow! Yeah, today's the 24th as we're recording this.
Yeah, but I've been posting about it for all my friends, and we shared it in our Facebook podcast page. So we did what we could to get more viewers. But from what I've seen at Damon Daring's, the director's page, they've been having a lot of sold out nights. So that's wonderful.
The Clive Barker Podcast, or Barkercast, is an independent editorial fan site and podcast that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Films. This podcast and site are a labor of love by the fans for the fans. News, features, and show notes for this episode can be found at www.clivebarkercast.com. Go to iTunes and please leave us a review. Reviews really help us get the word out about Clive Barker. You can also find us on Podomatic, Xbox Music Store, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Doubletwist, Blackberry, and Pocketcast. We have a Facebook page, so come on and like our Facebook page and join the Occupy Midian group for lots of discussion about Nightbreed and other Clive Barker stuff. On Twitter, we're at BarkerCast and at Occupy Midian. Opening theme by Mark Buckle.